Hello, this is a mental health check-in for boyfriends of borderline women. Um, I've had two girlfriends that I know of, actually three girlfriends that were all borderline. Um, I've gone to college for mental health. I have 120 college credits in mental health, which equates to almost a bachelor's degree. I've worked with mentally ill adults for 6.5 years, mostly schizophrenic. So I have a lot of experience in the mental health field, and that's what my major is in college, is mental health. So I'm not a doctor or anything, but I'll have a lot of knowledge on borderline because I've studied it for a long time because I've dated so many borderline women. But today's video is a mental health check-in because when I watch these videos, I see a lot of comments of men out there that are suffering, men out there that are on the verge of suicide, men that actually committed suicide, unfortunately. And a lot of it is because of the chaos of these relationships with the borderline girlfriend. Um, Not guys, the one thing you have to realize is the whole value devalue cycle of a borderline relationship doesn't have anything to do with you. So, like, I'll give you a perfect example. Like, we'll use two of my former borderline girlfriends as an example. I treated them both literally like gold. I never physically abused them. I never raised my voice at them. I never made them feel frightened or scared or anything. And both of them just would go through the value devalue cycles pretty quickly. And it can shift even within 24 hours. The value devalue cycles can do that as well. Give you a quick example. One of the girls, she walked by one day and said she wasn't talking to me anymore. And then by the end of the night, she's knocking on my door. So the borderline mental illness is really tricky on the value devalue cycles. The triggers can be things that they perceive as a trigger that can put them in devaluement, or it can be just something in their mind that just snaps into devaluement. So the whole point of the video today is you have all these men worldwide taking their borderline girlfriend's behavior personally, so much to the fact that they're on the verge of harming themselves, killing themselves, which is really, really sad. Back a few years ago, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I almost came to the point of taking my life over my borderline girlfriend. She would dip in and out of my life constantly. Even this year, she dipped in and out of my life. She came here for 3 weeks, and then her sister convinced her to move out and go to the shelter so she could get some sort of voucher for a cheaper apartment. But what set her off in the devaluement cycle was my landlord said that I needed to get rid of this girl's dogs, and she threatened to kick me out of the house if I didn't kick me out of my apartment if I didn't get rid of the dogs. So my borderline girlfriend, I had to let her know that I had to get rid of her dogs, which at the time were actually her service animals. So that really triggered her, not having her dogs with her, and the fact that they're service animals, things like that. So that would be an example of an environmental trigger. As soon as that happened, my value just went right down the tubes. I think my value was connected to her staying at my place with the dogs. That's where the value was to her. And then once I removed the dogs that were her service animals, there went my value. Now I have no value to her at all. So now she's just going to go to the shelter to get a voucher, right? That entire 3 weeks, I was driving her around. I actually drove her like an hour away to go to jail for like a couple nights. She got arrested for OUI and had a couple nights in jail. I drove for like an hour to go to jail, and I even drove like another time that same night to go back with some paperwork. Took like 2 trips in the middle of the night so that she could get bailed out of jail, right? As quick as she could. And then, I did other things, bend over backwards, would drive her around daily, would go to the store, take her shopping. Never once physically abused her, never once yelled at her, never once was ugly with her, never once called her names in a fight, never called her a fucking bitch or a cunt or anything that a lot of men do. I literally treat this girl like gold. So my point to you guys is, and I've said it before in my videos before, You literally could be Jesus Christ and they'll still devalue you and leave. That's what I'm saying. You could literally be the nicest guy in the entire planet. And if they have those unconscious triggers in their mind, the value devalue cycle of a borderline, they can go into the hate cycle without you even doing anything. It can be just something that snaps in their brain that puts them in devaluement. One thing I deal with this girl. This is a girl that I love so much. I care about her. She's been in my life for about 10 years. I care about her tremendously. Ever since she left because of the dog, she hasn't contacted me 1 minute, and so that leaves me to think it's about me. Maybe it's not about me. Maybe she hasn't actually thought about me at all. Maybe she's busy all day thinking about what she's upset about. Like right now, she didn't have her license or a place to live. So maybe all day she's thinking about how angry she is about that, and she literally doesn't even think about me at all. So here I am thinking it's a personal thing. Oh, you're just ignoring me, when maybe she actually more or less just thinks of me as a friend that she sees once in a while and says hi to. So that's what's hard about with us boyfriends, guys, is like we want to be these super loving people to these borderline women. But a lot of times when you're dealing with a sociopathic borderline, like my ex-girlfriend is a sociopathic borderline, she doesn't have any empathy for my feelings at all. Like ghosting me for the last couple months. Haven't I let her stay at my house for 3 weeks. I didn't lay a finger on her, never yelled at her, treated her like absolute gold. We were doing the friendship thing with no sex because once they know you want to be the boyfriend, they cut you off from sex. In a lot of situations, not everyone, but in a lot of situations, a borderline will cut you off if they feel like you're getting too close. The same girl told me that relationships trigger her. She would never want to call me the boyfriend, but we've had sex a couple times. I mean, that's kind of like a boyfriend, right? Um, we've lived together in the same home a couple times. So basically, I was a boyfriend, but without the label, right? I mean, if you're having sex with a girl, you might as well be the boyfriend at that time. But anyway, guys, that's another thing borderlines do. They lure you in with the amazing sex. There would be times in this 10-year relationship with this girl where I wouldn't see her for. There was one time I didn't see her for 2 years. For 2 years, she just ignored me and went off and dated other guys. And I actually got myself in trouble in 2016 out of depression out of the same girl. I actually ended up going to jail over it and everything. Went into like a crisis situation back in 2016 where I was in a high speed chase and everything. My friend actually, who died of a drug overdose, he actually got out of my car and kicked somebody's door in, and I had to break up the fight. I knew his history because I used to be his staff person at a group home when he was 15. He was 24 at the time, had no parents, so his staff were like his parents. And me being one of his former staff, of course I cared about him. One day he called me in one of the local towns and said he was hungry and starving, didn't have any food. So me being a former staff, I went and took him out to eat. And then I tried to do the right thing with boundaries and drop him off at the men's shelter, and that didn't last at all. So my point was, guy, before getting off on a tangent, my point was my emotional state with that girl put me in a crisis state of mind. So now I'm, in trouble. Would I have stopped for the police if I wasn't already in a negative state of mind? Probably would have stopped if I wasn't already upset about the borderline devaluement. Because for years, guys, I took her behavior personally. So much to the point where one day I got drunk here at my apartment before work and someone picked me up, and at work I had plans to kill myself at work. And luckily, one of my other friends who also died of a drug overdose, he was there to cheer me up and talk me out of it and help me through my day. So don't underestimate the impact of being a good friend. So my point with the whole story, is they can cause, if you start taking the borderline girlfriend's behavior personally, it can really lead to really bad things in your life. Like with me in 2016 with the high speed chase and breaking him up with the fight, and I actually went to jail for a week over that, guys. I got charged with 2 felonies for breaking up that fight because it took the police a long time to find out that I was just breaking up the fight. At first, because the person that kicked the door in my personal opinion, He was an actual sociopathic psychopath. He had previously stabbed somebody and gone to prison a few years back before that incident. Guys, at the time, I just didn't have a choice. But that whole night with me getting in trouble, most likely stemmed from being upset with the girl that I love, right? Because I was in a bad state of mind. So, how do you get out of that bad state of mind? By understanding that borderline personality disorder is a mental illness that often causes these women to behave, and it's nothing you do is connected to it. That's what they say is the hard part about being the boyfriend is you could literally be the nicest guy in the world, treat your girlfriend like gold. You're getting up, cooking her breakfast every day. Just, you're wonderful. You're a wonderful, wonderful guy. And your girlfriend, something snaps in her head, that borderline snap, that maybe she starts worrying that you're going to abandon her, break up with her because maybe you guys got in an argument last night. So she thinks a breakup's on the horizon. So she feels like she has to break up with you first before you end things. So there's all kinds of things that can lead to the value devaluement. But the whole point of this video, guys, is to stop taking their behavior personally. My former girlfriend, who actually lives out of state, she actually ended up leaving state after a devaluement cycle. She was actually assaulted to the point where she was almost killed by one of her boyfriends. Why did the boyfriend attack her like that? Because he's taken her behavior personally, because he didn't realize that she was mentally ill. He didn't realize that this girl has no control over her behavior. It's all mental illness. Literally was almost killed by this guy. It was a brutal attack that the boyfriend did on her. So that's another thing, guys, is, it's not okay to physically abuse these girls. It's not okay to yell at them, because just like I'll quote the Bible, forgive them for they know not what they do. This is very accurate for a borderline individual. Help us forgive them because they know not what they do. They literally know not what they do. They don't understand. Like the girl I love, she probably doesn't even know I'm upset over here thinking she's ignoring me because maybe she was thinking about her triggers all day, things that are upsetting her, not having a place to live, not having a car, having the OUI to deal with. So she may be thinking about that stuff all day. And just, like going back to the thing, she told me relationships trigger her. That's why she avoids me, because I'm the relationship guy. That's why she won't fuck me, because I'm the relationship guy. She wants to fuck guys that she don't care about and that, basically just using her for sex. That's who she wants to fuck, because there's no attachment going on. This girl has attachment issues. I want to attach to her because I love her and I want her in my life, but because she has those attachment issues that stem from childhood, she cannot connect with me as a partner. So I need to just back off and just say, I actually apologized to her recently because I was getting upset about things. And I told her, just come see me when you want, and that's how you might have to word things. The next conversation you have is, hey, I'm here. I'll be a friend. If you want to, stop by and say hi, that's fine. But you may have to end the relationship, because this is the thing. If your borderline girlfriend is not being treated for borderline, the problem is the love-hate cycles will continue. So even if she comes back into the love cycle where, like I told you, this girl in the last 10 years, it was a 2-year period that she completely ignored me, went off dating other guys, and then one night out of the blue asked me if I wanted to Netflix and chill. That is the hoovering cycle of borderline, guys. The hoovering cycle is lure me in with sex and a good time, watch a movie with me, lure me in with sex. That's what the borderline women do. I had another girlfriend tell me she was having sex with me because she needed me. Not because sex was fun, but because she needed me. So do you see how borderline individuals will use sex to manipulate the boyfriend? That's what they do, guys, because they know it works. They know they lay those certain cards down. They know that you're going to jump on it. So don't take that bait that easily. Anyway, guys, my point is you might have to get to the point where you just accept the fact that maybe this relationship has to be over for your mental health. You can't be going on high-speed chases like I did in 2016. You can't be breaking up home invasions like I got myself into, and I had to break up a home invasion, got charged with 2 felony charges that I had to get dropped. Had to go to drug court for an entire year to get 2 felony charges dropped, guys. So I'm not a felon, thank God. But it took a lot to get out of trouble. And all that trouble stemmed from being upset about the same girl and devaluement. So if you can just step back and say, I got to forgive her because she knows not what she does, think of it as any mental patient that might not understand what they're doing, because that's literally what you're dealing with. And the thing about, wanting them back, maybe you should step back and say, why do I want the person back? If they really hurt you emotionally, why would you want that person back? Especially if the value devaluement cycles are gonna continue, which they will if they're a true borderline. They go through love-hate cycles that, in my opinion, can be either triggered by an event like when I had to kick her dogs out of here, that triggered the hate cycle, or another way they can trigger is just that unconscious switch. It's called splitting, where they tend to view people as all good or all bad. So what clinicians try to get them to do is understand that people aren't all bad or all good, but they're a little bit of mix of both, a gray area. So that's where they work with the clients and understanding that they shouldn't just hate people or love people, but people can be both good and bad at the same time, and maybe they shouldn't cut people off so fast, right? For them, I think it's just easier to cut people off because they're already dealing with so much anxiety and stress already. So for them, it may be easier for them to just cut somebody off, but the behavior is not personal. So don't take it personal, guys. Here I am sitting at my apartment right now thinking this girl is ignoring me. She probably hasn't even thought about me all month, and the other thing is, if once you're in that friend zone, you can't break out of it. She put me in the friend zone because I was trying to be her boyfriend. Okay, that's why I got put in the friend zone. So if you were trying to be this borderline girlfriend's boyfriend, that's why you're in the friend zone. If they have attachment issues, they pushed you away because they cannot attach to another individual. They see attachment as a threat to their own personal life and safety. Like the girl that I love has been physically attacked by men several times, has had her windshield smashed, has been physically assaulted in the head so much that it caused a concussion. Why is that? Two reasons. One, she's a sociopathic borderline, so she has no regard for the men's feelings. And two, the men are taking her behavior personally. Just like my friend out of state that was assaulted so badly that she was almost killed. The men were taking the behavior personally. So say it with me. I gotta forgive them, for they know not what they do. They're mentally ill. Borderline personality disorder is a mental illness. Look it up on Google right now. Learn about the symptoms. Don't take your girlfriend's behavior personally. That mental switching can be unconscious, or it can be caused by the slightest trigger. So guys, it's not anything that you've done. You may be the nicest guy in the entire planet. So I want you guys to what's another secret to it? Focus on self-care. That means like what I've been doing this summer. I've been jogging like I jogged today. I jogged yesterday. I've been running all around the place, walking and getting exercise. I'm pretty healthy weight right now, as you can see. Not fat or anything. I've been working on self-care. That's how I'm getting through this. What would happen if I was taking her behavior personally? I might start drinking. I might start doing drugs. I might just sit here all day, get wasted. That would be me taking her behavior personally. But understanding how crazy borderline is, that's what's helped me, guys. It's helped me not take her behavior personally. It's ended the suicidal thoughts. So I'm not going to take it personal anymore, guys. And we have to constantly remind ourselves not to lash out at them, not to physically abuse them, emotionally abuse them, because it hurts real bad to be the boyfriend when you're feeling these feelings, like being ignored on a text message or being ignored on the phone. You have to realize it's probably not even about you. She's probably just having a bad day thinking about her own personal triggers, which may have nothing to do with you. She might have been crying all day because she didn't get her discount on her car insurance, and she hasn't thought about anyone all day. So here we are taking this personally, thinking this is a personal attack on us when She may just be out in left field in disassociation, which can also happen with borderlines where they disassociate for long periods of time. So anyway, guys, if you like this mental health video, please subscribe. Please like this video. I'll leave some of my merch links, my Amazon merch links in the description so you can maybe buy a shirt if you have an extra money week. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys have a fabulous evening. Until next time, Steve signing out. Have a good one. Bye.